This collaboration between myself, Charlotte Hug, and dancers from the Forgotten Angle Theatre Collaborative was initiated in 2014 when the Forgotten Angle was hosting Charlotte as an artist in residence. In 2014 we started with what we called Found Amongst Translations, which is inspired by our relationships, our interactions, by Charlotte's beautiful and very moving and evocative son icons and her music. And then we developed it into what we now call SIYABA, Found Amongst Translations. SIYABA meaning inherit, to steal, to relocate, to share. So we've now developed it into a far more finely tuned exploration of relationships, of translation, of interpretation, of conducting, of who is leading who, of who is composing who. Is the musician and vocalist composing the dancers and choreographing the dancers? Is the dancer choreographing the artwork? Is the artwork choreographing the musician? And all the kind of many layers of relationship that kind of unfold and unravel out of that series of translations. And so, although it is framed in a certain way, we are really discovering the delicacies and the intricacies of every single space. Because Charlotte's icons are inspired by nature, by natural things, whether it's breath, whether it's spine, whether it's lungs, whether it's air, whether it's soil. Springs,
yeah,
yes, all sorts. We decided to go into those spaces, to go to natural spaces where we could observe water, where we could observe air, where we could listen, where we could see and where we could feel. The caves were very powerful in their representation of time.
Experience in the cave was really, really deep in the Sabbagha caves, and what I found there so really touching, that all the dancers and myself, we made our own artistic translation already there. So we experienced the same space, but it's translating in 5 different ways. And I think that's the magic of the translation. For me, this cave was the oldest composition I've ever played. So it's 2 billion years old, and I played really every detail of the cave, and I found really connected with a completely other dimension of time.
So there we were at night, locked in the caves by ourselves for 3 hours, and Charlotte was playing the caves, interpreting the caves, and the guys were overwhelmed by ancestral stuff and became quite immobile. And then we were trapped in this intense silence with this kind of dripping of water from stalactites. And we found this kind of polyrhythmic duet and conversation of silence and of sound.
Large dimension of time, the polyrhythmics of microseconds maybe, and then also our collaboration. So last year I brought the stimulus from the spring, and I brought already a translation. So the song icons are very connected with the springs I experience in Switzerland, rhythms of springs, listening to springs. And now, all these colored song icons are new ones. They are actually a translation of the collaboration we had last year. So they are actually much more influenced by the dancers, like coming out of the song icons or interpreting the song icons from last year. And I really feel now they're just falling out of the song icons. It's such a connection. So we have already in our collaboration, we have different layers, which is quite visible. So when we see the song icons, the older song icons from last year, they are black and white and red. And the translation from last year's collaboration, they are colored. If different individuals translate in their own way, with their own history, with their own interest, this opens up an artwork in a very interesting way. Not only for us, but I think also for an audience. Translation means it can be understood in another context. So that means somebody maybe finds an interest through the bodies, or through the music, or through some particular icons which are here. This process of translating, multiple translation, opens up the content, not only for us, but also for an audience to connect precisely. Oh yeah, this music opened me the window to this artwork, or these dancers, I can connect with them. This is my entrance to maybe this music, which only at the end makes sense. Or, so it's multiple reading and multiple entrances. Yeah, of course we have a vision. So an intercontinental collaboration needs a collaboration where we had the chance to work here, but I think it's very important that you had the chance to work in Europe as well. Absolutely. So that really, the balance is very important. This will be a translation to play this piece in Europe.
Absolutely.
It will be dislocated it will be seen from another perspective. And this would transform our collaboration also.
Absolutely. I think that's important, is that whatever the next step is, will be yet another translation of what we have found. It's not a static work. It's not something that we will present in this form as we see it today in the next context.
And actually, the ideal of a composition for me is when it's a strong structure, which allows all the artists which are involved to develop themselves and to get richer, and that each place we are playing it has all its antennas out, this project, and we will get the sense and have the possibility in this composition, in this structure, in this choreography, to make homeopathic changes which are, I think, very strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And responsive to the environment.
To the environment, exactly.
Yeah.